the phone is higher. You look.
Okay, so I think we are now live. Can we check our Facebook page?
Okay.
So this is going to be exciting, and I'm very thankful that my partner in crime is with me right now,
Thank you,
helping
Christian.
us, helping us with all this social media thing. This is so new to me.
No, I know.
I used to be just in front of the camera without like all the production, uh,
Right?
right? So
No,
yeah.
you're doing all of the production. Whoa.
So let us see what's going on.
Just
So yeah, I'm not sure if we are now broadcasting, but hi Elizabeth, can you move
Hi.
forward so we can all see you because you're too far from.
I'm too
There you
far.
go.
Right?
Yeah, so I can see the whole office.
I can't use this. I'm gonna.
Is that better?
So yeah, let me see.
I think I'm gonna try to get the broadcast on the computer because I don't think this is going to work very well.
Oh well, it's working right now. Okay,
Oh, okay.
this is amazing. So this is
All
what we
right.
need to do. I'm gonna
All right.
share this to our. You can go to our. You can go to the page, and
Okay.
then you can share.
Okay.
All right.
What do
So
I do?
we'll see. You're great. You're so beautiful. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm really good.
Okay. So guys, I guess we are now live here on Facebook page, and I want to introduce to you my very beautiful, gorgeous, and one of the bravest person I've ever met in this whole wide world.
Gosh, Jenny.
Oh yes, you are. So you cannot deny it. Just hearing your story is just amazing. So first and foremost, I would like to welcome everyone who is now watching this Facebook Live on our Successful Self-Made Women group. And this is all for you. I am Jenny Umali. I am the founder of Successful Self-Made Women. And I'm very happy to be here with all this technical issues. So we were late. You know, we're not always late, but we want to give you the best of everything in this group. So now we're here, and I'm with my beautiful friend here, Elizabeth, who
Hi.
is again, you know, very courageous woman. And I know that a lot of women out there, you know, has gone through something, including me. So we're gonna talk about that. So first of all, what are we going to talk about tonight? So as I mentioned in our in my post yesterday, that we are going to talk about sexual abuse. I know that it is a very delicate topic, but you know, we have to be like in front of our fears and face it. So the reality is very scary, but we have to break the blockages of our fears so we can set ourselves free from all the pain and all the hardships that we went through during, you know, in that darkness. So Elizabeth,
Yes.
okay, welcome to
Hi.
Successful Self-Made Women Group, and you
I'm
know
so
how much I
excited.
adore you and I praise you, and I think this is the best time for me to thank you for everything that you are. Thank you for being so brave and courageous, for being out there talking about what you have gone through. All right, so this is your time to shine. And I want you to help a lot of women. I know that you're very helpful, and I want you to, by doing this, I want you to help a lot of women to understand that what they're going through is not normal, and it is something that we need to really, take seriously. So tell me something about yourself. Kindly, please introduce
Um,
yourself.
well, Jenny, first of all, I just want to thank you so much for doing this. I just, you have my heart and I love you so
Oh,
much and I consider you a friend. And, so, getting, wow, you got me all emotional. getting to the point. So basically, what was the question again?
Okay, I understand that, Elizabeth here is not really like, a celebrity thing, but she's starting to be a celebrity because being a very influential speaker and coach of sexual abuse is something, that she's really like, it's new, but at the same time, very powerful to do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. The question is, please introduce yourself.
Oh, okay.
And tell us, tell us
Yeah.
when did you start? When did you start
Okay, so
inspiring people?
okay, well, to give you just a quick background, I was sort of I kind of grew up in not a very normal environment. I was sexually trafficked. I was given up multiple times as a child. Before the age of 4, I had already been trafficked. I was given up a few times for adoption. I lived in a group home for a year and a half. And my current family just didn't have any idea what to do with me because they had no idea that I had been trafficked. They didn't have the resources to get me help. And so I kind of came through that, and I just really took a hold of my life, and I said, you know what, I've got to make this stop. I've got to make the depression stop. I've got to make and I think through that, it took me like a really long time to come to this place of saying, like, okay, this is something that I was born to do. This is something that I want to do. And I really believe that if I can handle being in, a stable marriage, I wouldn't say I'm an excellent mom, but I'm a pretty good mom. I've done surrogacy, and I figured, if I can come through all of that and come through the other side of that, then I think it is just sort of like my calling to help women to understand that, what they're going through, with the shame and stuff like that with sexual abuse, and, just the shame of, dealing with that, then I think that I've made my life count for something. And I feel like that's kind of what I was put on the earth for. Like, when I was younger, my mom was like, oh, you know what, you're going to have, a ministry like Joyce Myers or Beth Moore because, you've been through like the trenches. And she didn't even know at that point that I had even been sexually trafficked. This was something that had been kind of hidden. It was like in my subconscious, but I had just stuffed it so far down that even when she would tell me this stuff, I was like, no, because I don't have a story, I'm just like normal, like, what are you talking about? And I really feel like if I can just save one person from their shame and just save one person from staying in a bad relationship, then I think that I've made it count. I've made all of the pain count. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you know what? You're so amazing because it's not easy for someone who went through what you went through. Someone who came from darkness can literally share their vulnerability, their story. I myself have gone through, sexual abuse when I was at the age of 6 years old, and when I told my mom about it, like I think that was 4 years ago, or 4 years ago, she was terribly like shaking, and she's so mad, she's so angry, and at the age of 6, you don't really know what is sexual abuse or is that normal. So what is so kindly please explain to us what is sexual abuse, and when did you know that this is not right, this is my body, I'm supposed to say yes and say no, I have a choice, this is my decision whether to do something good or bad for my body. You have to honor your body, that's what it is, right? But when we were kids, when we were very young, we don't know, we are not in control, we are very vulnerable, and we are afraid. We are afraid that something might happen worse than being touched, right? So when did you start realizing that you've been being sexually abused?
Well, it was really crazy because I was 24 and I had gone through my parents had just sort of kind of taken over my life, and I can't get into all of what happened, but I had gone through something really traumatic with my parents, and I had met this really stable guy, or I thought that he was very stable, and I just decided that I wanted a better life, and I was really trying to attach, and I was doing all of the right things, and I did eventually attach, but I think it was like I was pushing on to 24. And I remember I woke up in like this cold sweat to the point that like my sheets were so soaked. I actually thought I had wet the bed because my sheets were drenched. And he's like, what's wrong? And I said, I think I've gone through something really horrible. And he's like, well, how do you know that? And I said, I had this
Mhm.
really intense dream. And I said, but it wasn't like kind of like the dreaming that you have of just like random people or like random faces. Like I saw myself like little, like really, really little. And I was walking around this blue carpet, and on the blue carpet I was like asking all of these adults, I'm like, mommy, like where's my blood, mommy, like I'm looking for my blood. And this person is like ripping out like all of this carpet, and I'm like, no, you can't rip it out, like my blood is on that carpet. And I was emphatic that there was like blood on this carpet. I'm like, this is like the craziest dream. So I called my biological grandmother, and because we had stayed in contact when stuff had hit
I
me.
have to stop you, Elizabeth. I have to stop you. I think your camera is, we're losing you.
Oh, can you
We're
still
losing.
see me?
Yeah, we can, but it's kind of blurry.
Oh,
So I think it's the.
I think it's just the light behind me. Is that better?
No, I think it's the internet. Anyway, so oh yeah, you're getting better. I think it's
Okay.
getting better. So when you finally realize that you're bleeding,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like really for me hearing your story. I have heard this before, and hearing your story now, it's
Mm-hmm.
still give me like, wow, like seriously,
Mm-hmm.
you don't deserve this. You
Mm-hmm.
don't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
so let's make this clear.
Mm-hmm.
So at the age of 24,
Mm-hmm.
you said that you had a relationship
Yes.
with a man.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the man who's the father of your son?
Yes, he's the father of my eldest son, and it was really challenging for me because at that point it was sort of like this huge weight on me, because it was like, oh God, not another thing to deal with. Like this was like the last thing that I really needed to deal with, and I knew in my gut that this wasn't just going to go away overnight. And as I began to investigate, I also found out that in my birth that it wasn't just like a teen pregnancy, that my mom had been raped by her uncle, which was my great uncle. So her aunt's husband had raped her, and that's how I was conceived. So not only did I have the shame of being, finding out that, because the way that my grandmother had put it, she's like, we knew something was going on because there were guys constantly going in and out of the house, and your mother was never around. And then around that, I said, so do you ever remember like, missing underwear, missing pajamas? Because I specifically remember being hogtied and like raped to the point that there was like blood just soaking my nightgown, and I was like trying to take off my underwear, take off my nightgown, and I'm like rolling it up and like trying to like throw it under the bed because I didn't want her to see. And my grandma said, yeah, she said all the time you were like missing nightgowns, you were missing. And she said it was really weird too because around the same time that this was going on, there was like money coming in all of the time.
So your grandmother knew about it?
She did. And it took me a really long time to sort of compartmentalize the difference between, because for her, even though it was drastically wrong that this happened to me, she didn't want to report it because that was her daughter, and she didn't want to put her daughter through the shame. She didn't want to put her daughter through all of that. And so I was able to forgive her because I was like, okay, so you didn't want your daughter to get in trouble with the law, and this is just sort of the consequences of poverty. And so because I was able to compartmentalize like the different levels of what happens with abuse and like the layers of abuse, I was just like, okay, like I have to forgive her because she can't take on the guilt of her daughter doing this and the guilt of me being sexually sold out for sex. Like she just couldn't handle that, and I never put that on her. And I think that's just my way of sort of like, and I'm not saying that maybe that's not normal. I'm not saying that, but in just my own way of just trying to forgive and trying to process all of that, I had to say like, okay, I have to see it from your perspective, because I think if I didn't see it from her perspective, I think I would have like literally gone crazy. I mean, I was already dealing with the shame of coming out of rape. I was already dealing with the shame that, you know, I was trafficked, but I felt it was like my burden to bear at that point, and that it was you know, it happened so long ago that it wasn't her fault that it happened. You know what I mean? And yeah, she did have a responsibility to report it. Yes, she did have a responsibility to intervene, but I can't change that. I had to focus on the fact that my husband at that time was a pilot. I was home alone for days at a time with my son, and for 9 years, like I was dealing with just suicidal thoughts from the time that I woke up to the time that I would go to bed, and I wasn't doing it with medication. And I'm looking back at that, and I'm like, what was the big deal? Like, you probably would have saved yourself so much heartache if you had just taken the stupid antidepressants. But I was like, no, I'm gonna do this the hard way.
So with all these horrendous, stories of yours, honestly, I heard it many times, but I still couldn't take it. Like, okay, let's stop here because I feel like my heart is breaking over and over again. So when did you really decided to break free from all this? Like, when you're telling this story,
it was
it's
a
like
process.
normal. Yeah,
it was a process. Yeah, it was definitely a process, because I really felt defective. Not only was it just the shame of being trafficked, but it was also like, because at the same time too, I also ended up getting a different diagnosis. I got like a diagnosis, I found out that I was sexually trafficked, found out that I was sold out in rape. And then I found out that because of my mom's alcohol abuse, my doctor ended up saying, you know what, I think we need to investigate this a little bit further. And then then there was like an added diagnosis to that. And basically it was like, you're incurable. And so there was like, my faith in God was absolutely shattered. I'm like, okay, I know that God doesn't make mistakes with other people, but I really think he made a mistake with me. I really think that like all of this stuff, like all of these promises in the Bible are for other people. It doesn't apply to girls like me. It doesn't apply to, girls that are conceived in rape, because this was a
You
mistake.
question God because of what happened to you. Yeah, you question God because of what happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
And when did you just, because now you're like a different person. You're coaching. You're a very influential speaker. So I want you to bring us there. I want you to bring us to the light.
So I had come out of a really bad abusive relationship because I couldn't handle, my husband had told too many people like what was going on with me, and I couldn't handle facing him. I couldn't handle facing my in-laws. I just couldn't face handling like normal people. And I ended up getting into a really, really bad, I mean, just horrendous relationship for 4 years. And I heard God say to me, get online and find an Asian guy to love you. And I was like, what? I'm not in this position. And he's like, no, you need to do this, because I had already been doing therapy. I wasn't getting triggered as much, but I knew that I had to get out of this relationship. And so there was this guy on POF, and he said to me, come visit me in Cambridge. And so I had taken the bus from London to Cambridge, Ontario. And I had told him all of this stuff like over the phone, because I was like, I'm not going to meet you, because I said, you know, I don't want to waste your time. If there's stuff that I've been through that you can't handle, just leave me at the door. I'm okay with that. I just can't handle any more rejection, because when you're a survivor, dating is very hard. It's very, very hard, and it's very taxing. And the way that Brandon loved me, just completely and unconditionally, I was like, aha, this is the love that's talked about in the Bible. This is the love that Jesus has for me. And in that moment of just being completely loved, it was like, wow, this love thing works. And so it was just sort of like little by little, it was like I was changing my habits, I was doing things differently, and I was like, wow, I can do this. You know, I can wake up and feel great. And then he married me, and I was like, yes, I know, we're happily ever after. And so it was him just loving me completely and wholly, and he didn't put any conditions on me. He didn't say, well, you have to be like this or you have to be like that. He's like, no. And he's like, you know what? Take whatever career that you want, because I want you to discover who you are. And I'm not putting any barriers on you, because that's not what love is about. And it was so crazy, because the day that he ended up accepting Christ on the bed, I ended up doing the exact same thing. And I was like, okay, God, you've got my life now, because I completely understand this whole thing called unconditional love. And so I was just,
Who is on the bed?
Huh?
Who is on the bed?
Brandon had accepted the Lord on our bed, and then I had turned around and I said, guess what? I'm going to follow you too, because I like this idea of having a God that unconditionally loves me. And I'm like, I'm free.
Yeah. So you're telling us that, at okay, this has been overused, that at the end of the tunnel, there's light, right?
Yes.
So when you met Brandon, which is, I met him, and he was, I adore him. So you were already transitioning to really like setting yourself free, like forgiving people who have hurt you, forgiving the situation. You have forgiven yourself, and you just let go of all the heartaches and the bad memories. And then the minute you let go of all this, the hardships and pains, that's when God opened the gate of heaven for you to meet Brandon.
Yes.
Okay. And then you got married. And then from another door, windows, and there are more doors open for you, right?
Yes.
So I want you to tell the viewers, the people who's going to watch it, who's watching this right now and who's going to watch it again.
Yes.
I want you to give them, like, what is your inspiration? What is your advice that you can give them who went through this?
I'm gonna tell you a secret. And this is gonna sound maybe a little bit morbid to most people, but I would say that it was Holocaust survivors that saved my life, because I couldn't really relate to counselors anymore, because I was like, most counselors don't go through my kind of stuff. I mean, most counselors, when they look at me, they even psychiatrists and like they're like, high up there, therapists and stuff like that with all of the initials after their name, they basically looked at me and they're like, you should have committed suicide a long time ago. Tell me what your secret is to living. So I'm going to give you a couple of like tidbits of information on how this worked. So when I had planned my suicide out, like literally to the T. And I was going to the beach, and there was this really windy, curvy road that goes into Port Stanley, and it's just like this really narrow path. And I sat there on the side of the road, and I calculated the velocity of the car going over the cliff. I calculated like how much velocity would like cause my body to fall.
Wow.
But then I would think to myself, because I guess I am a writer, so I'm like, okay, so what comes next in the story? Who's finding your body?
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, okay, so it's going to be a cute fireman or an EMT person who's got like it's his first day on the job, and he's going to find your dead, mangled corpse. And guess what? He's not going to want to do this anymore because of you. You have ruined his career. So way to go. You've ruined this person's career, and you're dead, and you can't fix it. So what are you going to do now? And I went through probably, I don't know, 17 different scenarios of how to kill myself. And every time I would come to the place of like, okay, like I would have the knife ready. I would have the, like, you know, whatever I was going to use to do it. I'm like, okay, so you're in a park and nobody's around, so who finds your body? And I'm like, well, it's probably going to be a kid because his dog's going to come through here. The kid's going to find my body. He's going to get stressed out. Now I've traumatized a kid. How am I going to live with that? And I think it was that. So there was like a huge thing of empathy. And when I told my counselor this, she was like, you have probably the deepest degree of empathy I've ever seen from a person who's like willing to commit suicide. She's like, people don't think like this. Like, you are unique. And so it was this thing. The other thing that I did was cognitive behavior therapy.
So you went through therapies, and then
yes.
So you started with attending therapies and
yes.
All these things. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
And I think the Holocaust survivor thing was a perception for me, because in my brain I'm kind of competitive a little bit, just a little bit. I really like to be the best that I can be. You know, I really strive to like, you know, really make it. And so I was always like telling myself, well, if a Holocaust survivor can go through this, do social work, become a teacher, do all of these things, what the heck is my excuse? Like, get it together. Like, you haven't been through so much. Like, you are running out of excuses. You are running out of time. You're getting older. Fix yourself. Like, fix yourself now. Like, you don't have any more time. Like, you have to like change the world. And so I would listen, and Brandon's like, what are you doing? He's like, you're listening to like 8, 12, 16, 18 hours of like Holocaust survivor stories. And I was like, because it's exciting. They lived through like the most horrific time in history, got through it, got a family,
and they
became attached. I'm like, if they can do it, so can I. And I'm going to do this thing called life. And so those are pretty much my, I guess if you want to call them secrets, those were my 3 secrets on how I got from, you know, being in complete darkness to being set free.
Yeah. So that, you know, you have an amazing story, and thank you for being so open and, you know, being, again, very brave and courageous. So I want everyone to understand that, you know, whether you went through this or you are going through the same situation where she's, you know, she used to be, you need someone that you can talk to. You need someone to assist you, guide you, and tell you, whether it be therapist, life coach, counselor. You need to tell someone that you are going through this stage in your life, that it's not right. It's you have to speak your truth. You have to set yourself free. Don't be afraid. There's a lot of people who are there and willing to help you. We are here for you.
Yes.
And, you know, coaches like us, the reason why we're here is we're here to assist you. We're
Yes.
here to help you. We're here to solve your problems.
Yes.
If there's anything that you want to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
the reason why we're giving free time, we're giving free breakthrough calls, or we're giving a lot of like videos, post codes. This is for us to encourage you that you are
Mm-hmm.
not alone. We're here to
Yes.
embrace you, but we're here
Mm-hmm.
to love. If you can't find love inside your home, and you're gonna
Yeah.
find love outside your home using
Mm-hmm.
drugs, sex,
Mm-hmm.
be with the people that will only like pull you down and bring you down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very thankful that Facebook has
Yes.
been, a
Yes.
blessing for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I the reason why I invited Elizabeth here is because I know there's a lot of women here on my page and here on Facebook that who went through this and who's going through this.
Mm-hmm.
So again, my title is Break Free from the Chain.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth, I want you to talk about your program, Break Free from the Chain. Okay, I know that you gave them advice how to just release yourself
Mm-hmm.
from all. So I know that your Break Free from the Chain program is all about how to forgive yourself,
Mm-hmm.
how to find a new love that will accept you
Yes.
for for who you are, whatever happened in the past.
Yes.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this break free from chain is all about who there is God that you can
Yes.
lean on, that
Yes.
you can talk to. We are just like unearthed angels,
Yes.
that you can touch, you can talk,
Yes.
right? So tell me about the break free from the chain. Tell me about the things that you want to help them with.
I think the biggest thing is somebody had asked, I think it was on another Facebook group, and they said, they're like, I don't understand this concept of forgive and forget. And this is kind of the way that I had explained it. I said, what it means to forgive is to say, I know what you did is wrong. And I know that you deserve to be punished for whatever it is that you've done. But the consequences I am not placing in my control. And I'm
Yes.
allowing life and God to dictate whatever happens to you, like as far as like your actions are concerned. But I am free emotionally and spiritually. I am freed from this entire event because the consequences aren't on me. And I think when we talk about forgiveness, it isn't, when I found out that I had been sexually trafficked, um I was very angry. I was very angry because not only was it just like my life that ended up getting destroyed, but I ended up losing like a really good family, like a really,
Mhm.
really good family that were just completely, really wanting to help, had the resources to help me, but they didn't know. And I couldn't tell them. And they ended up putting me up for adoption anyway. And so there was this whole thing of like, well, what could have my life have been like? What would it have been? I probably would have gone to college. I probably would have, maybe even gotten like a master's degree or whatever. And so there was just this whole like, it was sort of like this huge cocoon that was just like around me. And I realized though that if I didn't forgive him, that I was going to be chained to this person for the rest of my life. And so when I talk about forgiveness, I want you all that are listening to this to fully understand that sexual exploitation is completely wrong. It's against God's word. It's against, moral principles. It should never happen to you. But there's absolutely no justification for that. And you need healing and you need help to help you get to that point. And with that comes the point of forgiveness. And it is a process because there has to be grief, there has to be mourning, there has to be like all of this stuff that you have to work through to get to
Yes.
that point of saying, I am not attached to this anymore. My
Yeah.
identity, who I am has nothing to do with that person anymore. My identity comes from the fact that, you know what, I'm a child of God first and foremost. I am
Yes.
a husband's wife. I'm an awesome friend. I'm a great mom. You know, I have a great life coaching, you know, success story. You know, I am a success story, you know, and all of these things. But it took me a while to get a new identity. And I think that is when you get a new identity and you exchange an old identity for a new identity, it's sort of like all of that stuff that happened before, you're not attached to it anymore. You know, did I make mistakes? Absolutely. Absolutely I made mistakes. I went berserk. Like, you know, yes, I wasn't into drugs and alcohol, but oh my gosh, like, you know, I completely destroyed my marriage because I couldn't attach. You know, I was doing really, really like just horrendous things because I couldn't, you know, I couldn't exchange that. I didn't know how to, yes, I was saying that I forgave him, which I did, but then there was the shame that was still attached to me. When you really forgive, you can look in the mirror and say, you know what? It's okay because God has me. Life has me. I am balanced. I am normal now. And that is a very long process. And you know, people say, "Oh, well, it must have been really easy because look at you now." Well, it was a 9-year process from the time that I had found out that I was sexually trafficked to, you know, just, you know, 5 years ago. It was 9 years. So, you know, that's almost a decade. But and I think that, you know, if you are making mistakes, you know, like let's say, you know, your life is in shambles because you just keep doing like the same thing over and over because you don't know how to cope with that. I will say this, kids are very forgiving. People are more forgiving, but you have to learn how to forgive yourself. And the way that you do that is realize.
I so agree with you. Yeah.
Yes, you know,
so one of the things that you have in your program is forgiveness, and I have it here that one of the things is forgiveness and how to create and build yourself back into life, bring the spark back in you, okay, and how to have a relationship with others without thinking, without doubting, or you know, with all this trust. And there's so many things. I really like the program that you have, Elizabeth, and I'm really looking forward to, you know, to talk to you about this again, deeper conversation, maybe behind the screen.
Yes.
So because I want to talk to you about this program, and I want everybody to see that you can really break free from the chain if you want to. But you have to decide, you have to commit. And for you to be successful is you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent with your forgiveness, okay? First of all, I like what Elizabeth just told us. Forgive yourself. That is the most important thing. As a spiritual life coach, I always advise and, you know, assist my clients with helping themselves and forgiving themselves, because we are also a victim. This is not just about sexual abuse.
No.
This is also sabotaging yourself, okay? You not having you have not loving yourself. You have self-love, because we all have experienced something really bad, but you have a choice. You have a choice.
Yes.
When are you going to break free from the chain? When are you going to open the new door for you? When are you going to embrace the new you, right?
Yes.
So thank you so much, Elizabeth, for being here. And guys, we're gonna write down the link where you can sign up for Elizabeth's program, Break Free from the Chain. This is all about forgiveness.
Yes.
And it's about just breaking free from all the hardships that you've gone through, and you know, just opening the gate of heaven for you and find a new life with success, being victorious. So there's going to be like a shifting of the mindset. There's going to be like success planning. There's going to be how to create your new life and attract new relationship, how to be you, how to be beautiful again inside and out. So all these wonderful things. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for Elizabeth to just like bring it out there. So this is the very first time that she came out of her shell about this Break Free from the Chain program. This is a 5-week program. There's going to be like an 8-week and 90 days program. But I highly suggest to try the 5-week program, which is right now is amazing. I've seen it. I've seen it, and some of them I've asked my other clients, what's going on inside this program, and they love it.
That's
They love
so
it.
awesome.
Every
And for
they're
those,
wonderful.
yeah, and also just to make a note, if you are part of or if there's like any listeners or people in the future that are needing, if you work for an organization that helps women and children get out of sexual exploitation, whether that's in the Philippines, Thailand, China, I would be more than willing to for just for whatever, just to fly down for like a couple of days and tell my story and just meet people where they are. If you are a part of a church and this is something that you guys all of you are doing as a ministry, I would more than willing to speak and to tell my story and to give other people hope, because I think that the problem is with the Me Too movement, it's all of these celebrities and people are like, well, it doesn't happen to normal people,
Yeah.
and the thing is that it does. Sexual trafficking doesn't necessarily mean that you're a hooker on the street. That wasn't my case at all. I mean, it was happening in closed doors in a very small town in Oklahoma, and people knew about it, but nobody really said anything, and it was just this really dark secret. And so when we think of sexual exploitation, like we think of like hookers on the streets, or we think of pimps, or we think of drugs, and sometimes it can be extremely hidden, and it can be extremely more damaging because you don't have the cops driving by and saying, hey, wait a second, like, you're little, like, what are you doing on the on the side of the road, like, doing this kind of stuff. And I want you to know that we are here to support you, and this Me Too movement isn't just for celebrities or people of high importance. This is for your sister, your mother, just your teacher, or whoever it is that has gone through something like this. And I really thank Jenny for just taking the time and having me on this program, and I look forward to your comments, questions, and just really being able to give people the hope that they need to get have joy come back into their life, because joy is such an amazing strength, and it's such an amazing blessing. So absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I want to thank everyone who joined us today in Facebook Live. And, this is such oh my God, I feel like I'm so empowered. You're so brave to talk about all this. I'm like, okay, whenever, oh my gosh, yes, 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 yes. I know that, Elizabeth, I really love you. God bless you.
Thank
And
you.
I
God bless you.
thank you for just being open and loving.
Aw.
And I really, I send you love and light, and I send you all the best.
Thank you.
I know that anytime soon you're gonna be, very popular in this beautiful world. And don't forget me, okay?
I won't forget you. I will never forget you.
And yes, don't forget me. And I would like to say thank you to Christian who
Yes.
who
Thank
helped
you,
us,
Christian.
who
Thank
helped,
you,
who
Christian.
helped us, yeah. And again, for everyone, Kelly, thank you so much, Kelly. Oh my God, she really watched us till the end.
Oh, wow.
Kelly Weaver, thank you. The best mentor ever. You know what, guys?
Amen.
Here's the thing. Yeah, here's the thing. You know why? Do you know why we are feeling so special, and we feel like what we're doing is really empowering?
Yes.
Because of the mentors that we have. Kelly,
Amen.
you're very wonderful. Yes, there's so many people that I would like to thank. Okay, my mentors. There's Vanessa. There's a lot of people. There's like, who else? Isel. Oh yeah, Isel. And there's you, of course. There's Christian. There's Irina.
Yes.
All these women who helped me go through a lot, like building myself and just being to just be successful. And I will not gonna end this live video without saying thank you to one of my spirit guide, my angel, so Janet McCowan. And she's always with me, and she's the one who's always guiding me. And I thank God and our angels for just being here with us. And I hope that you won't get tired, and don't get tired of sharing your stories with us.
No,
I love you so much,
I
and
love you too.
I'm gonna give you like a minute to say thank you to everyone. Okay?
Yes, I wanna I don't know if my spiritual mom is watching this, but she was actually the one that really encouraged my gift for speaking. And
Aw.
I want to say I want to say thank you to Maria Cristina Rodriguez, madre, te amo muito, y também tia Laura and tio Borges, porque vocês oraram por mim muito e muito obrigada. And I want to say thank you to Vanessa and Kimberly and Kelly, and I just want to thank you guys so much for believing in me. I want to say thank you to Jenny, because she just really didn't allow me to stop. She's like, no, this is your calling, and she kept you're not gonna quit, you're not gonna become a real estate agent, I'm not gonna let you. And
Well, I believe in you.
and
I believe in you.
I want to say thank you to Brandon. He's just a major support, and my in-laws, mom and dad, and my brother-in-law, Eric, and my nephew Ethan, and I just want to thank you for Christian. If you guys check out my website, he did such an amazing job on my website.
Okay, so can you tell us where they can reach you? So
Yeah, for sure.
And your Facebook page.
Yeah,
your Facebook
my
page.
Facebook page is it's
High Pressure Love.
And I'm trying to think right now, like I'm crying. And my email address is you can reach me at www.highpressurelove.com, and if you need any other supports, you can always go there. Or kind of revamping some stuff, so but if you need to contact me, if it's an emergency and you're wanting somebody to come to an event, Jenny can give you my phone number. If you privately PM her, she has my phone number. Or you can contact me on my personal page, Elizabeth Somboun, and just say, just send me a note saying, hey, can you please call me? I really need help, and we can try to set something up with you, something like that. So just let me know, and let Jenny know. She's if you guys need massage or anything like that, if you guys are in the San Francisco Bay Area, she's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yay! Thank you so much. It's an amazing day. I thought we were not gonna make it because of this high tech stuff going on. I'm just so blessed I'm really so blessed to have a partner like Christian.
I know.
So yeah, oh my God, this is overall. So guys, again, I would like to thank everyone for watching, and I hope that we inspire you in somehow.
Yes.
I know that it's not easy for someone like you, like me, like Elizabeth, to just show up and talk about this. But hey, she's here to remind us that you are not alone, that you can break free from the chain.
Yes.
I love you so much, and may God bless us all. I am sending you love, life, healing, and abundance. Again, guys, this is Jenny Umali. I am the founder of Successful Self-Made Women. And what else?
I don't know.
Have a good life. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.